I sat in my pickup truck outside the post office, holding the envelope like it might explode in my hands. The paper was thick, expensive, the kind of paper that whispered money, my daughter's handwriting on the front. Inside, a single card, cream-colored with gold lettering. Mr. Thomas Mitchell is cordially uninvited from the wedding of Sarah Mitchell and Marcus Wellington III. Uninvited. Not a mistake. Not regretfully. Limited seating. Uninvited. I read it 3 times before the words stopped dancing. My hands didn't shake. They should have. Instead, they just went numb, like when I used to carry victims out of burning buildings and the adrenaline hadn't worn off yet. That same cold feeling. I drove home on autopilot, 23 years in the fire department, and I'd learned to compartmentalize. Put the feelings in a box. Deal with the emergency first. Feel it later. But there was no emergency here. Just a cream-colored card and the sound of my own breathing in the cab of my truck. The house was quiet when I got back. It's been quiet for 4 years now, since Margaret passed. Sometimes, I still set 2 coffee cups out in the morning before I remember. The kitchen table where Sarah used to do her homework is covered in mail now. Bills, flyers, and now this. I set the card down and stared at it. My phone buzzed. Sarah's name lit up the screen. Dad, did you get it? Her voice was different. Clipped. Professional. The voice she used with clients. Not with me. Yeah, I got it. I know this is hard, but Marcus's family has very specific ideas about the wedding. It's going to be small, intimate, just immediate family. I am immediate family. Silence on the other end. Long enough that I thought the call dropped. Dad, please don't make this difficult. You know what I mean. Marcus's parents, his grandparents, the people who fit. The word landed like a punch. Your mother and I raised you in that house. I worked double shifts so you could go to that fancy college. I'm your father. Sarah, I know, and I love you, but this isn't about love. It's about presentation. Marcus's family is very traditional, very old Boston. They have expectations, and I don't meet them. Another pause. You're a retired firefighter, Dad. You drive a pickup. You wear flannel shirts. Marcus's grandfather is a federal judge. His uncle is a senator. Can you imagine what they'd think if what? If they knew your father was working class? That your mother waited tables while she put herself through nursing school? That's not fair. None of this is fair, Sarah. I could hear her breathing. Fast. Frustrated. I have to go. Please understand. This is the biggest day of my life. I need everything to be perfect. She hung up. I sat there looking at that card for a long time. The gold lettering caught the afternoon light. Uninvited. Such a polite word for what it really meant. I thought about calling her back. Thought about a lot of things. Instead, I did what I always did when the world stopped making sense. I went to my workshop in the garage. Margaret used to say, I built things to avoid feeling things. Maybe she was right. But that afternoon, I didn't build anything. I just stood there among my tools, breathing in the smell of sawdust and machine oil, trying to remember when my daughter stopped being proud of who I was. She was 7 when she first came to the firehouse. I'd brought her for the open house, and she wore my helmet, so big it kept sliding down over her eyes. She told everyone, my daddy saves people, pride in every word. She was 12 when Margaret got sick. Breast cancer. Stage 3. I took a leave of absence. Worked part-time. Whatever it took to be there. Sarah would sit with her mother while I worked, reading to her, brushing her hair. We're a team, she'd say. The 3 of us. She was 18 when Margaret died. I paid for the funeral myself. No charity. No handouts. Just the savings we'd put away. The life insurance that wasn't much but was honest. Sarah held my hand at the service. We're still a team, she whispered. Just the 2 of us now. She was 24 when she brought Marcus home for the first time. Thanksgiving. He wore a sweater that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage, shook my hand with the grip of someone who'd never done manual labor, smiled with teeth that were too white, too perfect. But he was polite. Called me sir. asked about my work, and Sarah looked happy, so I bit my tongue about the feeling in my gut. That was 4 years ago. Now she was 28, and I was uninvited from her wedding. I called my brother that night. Danny, 2 years younger, runs a construction company. They did what? His voice came through the phone like a growl. Uninvited me. Said I don't fit the image. That's the biggest load of Kang. I know. You gonna do something about it? Like what? I don't know. Show up anyway. Make a scene. That's not me, Danny. Maybe it should be, but it wasn't. I wasn't the scene-making type. I was the type who showed up, did the work, went home. Quiet. Reliable. The kind of man you could count on but never noticed until you needed him. I hung up with Danny and sat in the dark living room. The photo albums were still on the shelf where Margaret had arranged them. I pulled one down. Sarah's baby pictures. Sarah's first day of school. Sarah's high school graduation. Me in my dress uniform. Her in her cap and gown. Both of us grinning like we'd won the lottery. When had that changed? The next morning, I did something I hadn't done in years. I went to the coffee shop downtown instead of making it at home. Needed to be around people, even if I wasn't talking to them. The place was busy. Business people getting their morning fix. Students with laptops. I ordered a black coffee and stood by the window, watching the street. Excuse me. Is this seat taken? I turned. A woman, maybe late 50s, elegant in a way that seemed effortless. Gray hair cut short, expensive coat, but tired eyes. It's all yours. She sat, set down her cup. We stood there in silence for a moment. Two strangers sharing a window view. You look like someone who just got bad news, she said. I glanced at her. She was looking out the window. Not at me. What makes you say that? I'm looking at the same thing in the mirror every morning. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. My son is getting married next month. Big society wedding. I just found out I'm not invited. The coffee cup stopped halfway to my mouth. Your son uninvited you to his wedding? His fiancé's idea, apparently. I'm not. Refined enough. I came from money, but the wrong kind. New money. Self-made. Her family is old Boston. 8 generations of wealth and snobbery. She laughed, but it sounded like breaking glass. I'm Catherine Wellington. The name hit me like cold water. Wellington. As in, Marcus Wellington? She turned to look at me now. Really look at me. You know my son? I'm Thomas Mitchell, Sarah Mitchell's father. We stared at each other. The moment stretched, taut as a wire. So you're the firefighter, she said quietly, and you're the self-made woman. Apparently, we're both too embarrassing for the happy couple. I should have been angry, should have felt something sharp and hot. Instead, I felt something else, something strange and almost like relief. I wasn't alone in this. Can I buy you another coffee? I asked. We moved to a table in the corner, away from the windows, away from the morning rush. She told me her story. I told her mine. The words came easier than I expected. Catherine had built her fortune in tech, back in the 90s. Started with nothing, worked her way up, sold her company for millions. But money didn't buy class, apparently. Not the right kind. Not old money. Not the kind that knew which fork to use for which course and which families mattered. My son used to be proud of me, she said, stirring her coffee with a precise motion. When he was young, he'd tell people, my mom started her own company. Now, he tells people I'm retired. Retired. Like I'm some passive thing that happened to acquire wealth. I told her about Sarah, the little girl who wanted to be a firefighter like her dad, the teenager who changed her mind and wanted to be a lawyer instead, the young woman who started dating Marcus and slowly, incrementally, began to speak differently, dress differently, distance herself from the man who raised her. What are you going to do? Catherine asked. I don't know. What are you going to do? I don't know either. We sat in silence for a while. The coffee shop hummed around us, life continuing, oblivious to two parents nursing the same wound. You know what the worst part is? Catherine said finally. It's not that they're embarrassed. It's that they think they have the right to be. That somehow, Their shame is justified. Something in her voice struck a match inside me. You're right. About what? They think they have the right. But they don't. We gave them everything. We earned the right to be there. Catherine's eyes met mine. Something passed between us. Understanding, maybe. Or recognition. What are you suggesting? I'm not sure yet. But I'm tired of being quiet. We exchanged phone numbers before we left. I'm not sure why. Maybe just to have someone who understood. Someone in the same boat. I went home and stood in my closet, looking at the suit I'd bought for Margaret's funeral. Dark gray, simple, respectful. It still fit. I'd tried it on a month ago when Sarah first told me about the wedding. Back when I was invited. My phone rang. Catherine, I've been thinking, she said without preamble. What if we went anyway? To the wedding? Yes. They'd throw us out. Maybe. But maybe they wouldn't. It's a big wedding, right? 200 guests? Who's going to notice 2 more? Our children would notice. Exactly. I sat down on the bed. My mother made for me and Margaret as a wedding gift 40 years ago. You want to crash your son's wedding? I want to exercise my right as his mother to witness him get married. And I think you want the same thing. She was right. God help me, she was right. This is crazy, I said. Probably. But what's the alternative? Stay home and regret it for the rest of our lives? I thought about that. Thought about sitting in this house on the day of Sarah's wedding, looking at photo albums, wondering what she looked like in her dress, wondering if she thought about me at all. When is it? 3 weeks from Saturday. Garden ceremony at the Wellington estate. Reception in the ballroom. 1 o'clock. Black tie? Morning suit for men, actually. Do you have one? No. I'll take you shopping. My treat. I can pay for my own. Thomas, please, let me do this. I have more money than God and nothing to spend it on except therapy and wine. Let me buy you a morning suit. I almost said no. Pride is a hard thing to swallow. But something in her voice made me pause. She needed this. Needed to do something. Anything. That felt like taking back control. Okay, I said. But lunch is on me. She laughed. A real laugh this time. We met 3 days later at a men's formal wear shop in Back Bay. The kind of place where they don't put price tags on things because if you have to ask, you can't afford it. I felt out of place the second I walked in, but Catherine strode through like she owned it. Morning suit for my friend, she told the tailor. Something classic. Elegant. He's attending a wedding. The tailor looked me up and down with the practiced eye of someone who assessed worth by appearance. I saw the dismissal in his expression, but Catherine's presence changed the calculation. Of course, madam. Right this way. 2 hours later, I stood in front of a mirror wearing clothes I never imagined owning. Gray morning coat, striped trousers, silver tie. I looked like someone from another time. Another life. You look distinguished, Catherine said from behind me. I look like I'm playing dress-up. No. You look like a man who belongs anywhere he chooses to be. The tailor promised alterations by the end of the week. Catherine paid before I could protest. On the way out, she linked her arm through mine. We're really doing this, she said. We're really doing this. Any regrets? I thought about it. Thought about Sarah's face when she saw me. Thought about Marcus's family. Thought about making a scene. About being that person. Ask me after the wedding. We had lunch at a small Italian place Catherine knew. The kind where the owner greeted her by name. Over pasta and wine, she insisted I have 1 glass. Just one, we planned. We arrived separately, Catherine said. Blend in with the guests. Find seats in the back. What if they stop us at the door? Guest list? I'm the groom's mother. You're my +1. If they ask, you're my financial advisor. Your what? Financial advisor. Consultant. Whatever. People in Marcus's circles always bring business associates to events. It's networking, darling. The way she said darling, with just a hint of mockery, made me smile despite myself. You've thought this through. I've thought about little else for 3 weeks. She took a sip of wine. My therapist thinks I'm having a breakdown. Are you? Probably. But I'm having it in a morning suit and heels, so at least I'll look good. The day of the wedding arrived faster than I expected. I woke up at 5 in the morning, couldn't go back to sleep, shaved twice, polished my shoes 3 times. The morning suit hung on the back of my bedroom door like a challenge. Catherine picked me up at 11. She wore a dress in deep emerald green, elegant and understated. Her hair was perfect, her makeup subtle. She looked like money, the kind you're born with. "You clean up nice," I said, climbing into her car. "A Mercedes." "Of course. So do you." "Ready?" "No." "Good." Neither am I. The Wellington estate was 40 minutes outside the city. We drove in silence, both of us lost in our own thoughts. The closer we got, the more my heart hammered. This was insane. We were crashing a wedding, our children's wedding, but we'd come too far to turn back now. The estate appeared through the trees like something from a movie. White columns, manicured gardens, a circular driveway already crowded with expensive cars. Valets in white jackets directed traffic. "Last chance to run," Catherine said, pulling up to the valet stand. "You first." "Never." We got out. A valet took the keys. Catherine adjusted her dress, squared her shoulders, and transformed. The uncertainty vanished, replaced by the confident bearing of someone who belonged. I tried to do the same. Firefighters learn to walk into dangerous situations with confidence. This couldn't be much different. Except it was my daughter's wedding, and I wasn't invited. The ceremony was set up in the garden. White chairs arranged in rows, an arch covered in roses at the front. Guests milled around, champagne in hand, designer clothes and practiced smiles. Catherine and I moved through them like ghosts, nodding hello, blending in. No one stopped us. We found seats in the back row, off to the side. Close enough to see, far enough to be overlooked. Around us, conversation flowed. Names I recognized from the news, faces from magazine covers. This was Sarah's new world, foreign to me as Mars. Music started. Everyone stood, and there she was, Sarah, walking down the aisle on the arm of her Uncle Danny. Because I wasn't there to do it, she looked beautiful. White dress, simple and elegant, like her mother would have wanted. Her hair up, her face radiant. She didn't look at the guests. Her eyes were fixed on Marcus, waiting at the altar. My throat closed up. Catherine's hand found mine. Squeezed once. I squeezed back. The ceremony was short, traditional. Words about love and commitment and forever. The officiant was some bishop or monsignor, someone important in religious circles. He spoke about family, about the bonds that tie us together. I almost laughed. Almost. When it was over, when they kissed and everyone cheered, Sarah and Marcus walked back down the aisle as husband and wife. For 1 second, just one, Sarah's eyes swept the crowd and found me. I saw her freeze. Saw the color drain from her face. Saw Marcus lean in, ask if she was okay. She nodded, forced a smile, kept walking, but she'd seen me. The reception was in the ballroom. Cathedral ceilings, crystal chandeliers, tables set with china and silver that probably cost more than my truck. Catherine and I found a table in the back, near the bar. Strategic positioning, she called it. "She saw you," Catherine said, accepting a champagne flute from a passing waiter. "I know. How do you feel?" "Like I'm about to throw up or start crying." "Maybe both." Relatable. Marcus's father took the microphone for a toast. Douglas Wellington, silver-haired and commanding, every inch the patriarch. He spoke about legacy, about family traditions, about the Wellington name continuing through another generation. He didn't mention Catherine. I watched her face as her ex-husband erased her from their son's story. The pain there was sharp enough to cut. Then Sarah's Uncle Danny took the mic. He stumbled through a few words, clearly uncomfortable with public speaking, talking about Sarah as a little girl. How proud her parents would be. Parents, plural, as if I was dead. "That's it," I said, standing up. "Thomas." But I was already moving. Not thinking, just moving. The way I used to move into burning buildings, no time for fear, only action. I reached the mic before Danny finished. Took it from his hand with a polite, Mind if I say a few words? The room went silent. I saw Sarah's face, white as her dress. Saw Marcus's family, confusion and annoyance rippling through them. Saw Catherine, half standing, caught between supporting me and stopping me. My name is Thomas Mitchell, I said into the microphone. My voice didn't shake. I'm Sarah's father, murmurs through the crowd. Sarah stood up, but Marcus pulled her back down. I wasn't invited today. Neither was Catherine Wellington, Marcus's mother. Apparently, we don't fit the image the happy couple wanted for their perfect day. More murmurs. Louder now. But I realized something. This isn't about what they want. This is about what's right. Sarah, I raised you. I worked 2 jobs so you could go to college. I held your mother's hand when she died and promised her I'd see you walk down the aisle one day. Sarah's eyes were filling with tears. I kept that promise, even though you didn't want me to, because some things are more important than image. Some things matter more than fitting in. I set the microphone down and walked toward the door. Not running. Catherine met me halfway, linking her arm through mine again. That was either the bravest or stupidest thing I've ever seen, she whispered. Probably both. We made it to the parking lot before Sarah caught up. Dad. Wait. I turned. She stood there in her wedding dress, mascara running, breathing hard. How could you? How could you humiliate me like that? Humiliate you? Sarah, you uninvited your own father to your wedding because I knew you'd do something like this. I knew you wouldn't understand. Understand what? That you're ashamed of me? I'm not, she stopped, swallowed hard. It's not about shame. It's about fitting in. You don't understand what it's like. Trying to be accepted by people like Marcus's family. They judge everything, every word, every gesture. I had to be perfect, and I ruined that. Yes, the word hung between us like smoke. Catherine stepped forward. Sarah, may I say something? Sarah looked at her, surprised, as if seeing her for the first time. You're Marcus's mother. I am. And I want you to remember this moment. Remember how it feels to exclude a parent from your wedding, because one day, if you're lucky, you'll have children, and you'll do everything for them. Sacrifice everything, and maybe, if you're very unlucky, they'll look at you one day and see someone embarrassing, someone who doesn't fit. Sarah's face crumpled. I didn't want to hurt you, Dad. I just wanted to be someone else, I finished. I know, but Sarah, you can't build a life by erasing where you came from. Your mother and I, we're part of you. The good and the bad, the fancy and the plain. You can wear designer dresses and marry into old money, but you're still the girl who wore my fire helmet and told everyone your daddy saves people. She was crying now. Really crying. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. I opened my arms. She stepped into them, wedding dress and all. And I held my daughter the way I used to when she was small and the world hurt her. I love you, I said. No matter what, even when you're being an idiot. She laughed through her tears. I love you too, Dad. Marcus appeared at the door, looking uncertain. Catherine walked over to her son, and I saw a similar conversation happening. Quieter, with fewer tears, but the same substance. We didn't go back to the reception. Sarah and Marcus did, to make their apologies to the guests. But Catherine and I stood in that parking lot, watching our children walk back to their new lives, and something felt settled. Peaceful revenge, Catherine said. What? That's what my therapist calls it. Not making a scene for the sake of drama, but standing up for yourself with dignity. Peaceful revenge. I thought about that. About walking into that ballroom in a morning suit I never thought I'd wear. About taking that microphone and speaking my truth. About not yelling or causing a scene, but simply being present. Undeniable. I like that. A month later, Sarah came to visit. She brought Marcus. We had dinner at my house, nothing fancy, just pot roast and potatoes. The kind of meal Margaret used to make. They ate seconds. They helped with dishes. And when Sarah left, she hugged me the way she used to. I'm proud of you, Dad, she whispered. For what? For showing up. for not letting me forget who I am. Catherine and I became friends after that. She'd call sometimes, and we'd get coffee. Two parents who crashed a wedding and came out the other side with something like victory. Not every story has a happy ending, but some have honest ones. And sometimes, that's better. I framed that uninvitation card, hung it in my workshop, next to the photo of Sarah in my fire helmet. A reminder, some things are worth fighting for, and sometimes, the quietest fight is the loudest one. Peaceful revenge. I could get used to that.